The formula for self-esteem has been cracked. So if you've been experiencing low self-esteem or low self-worth in your life, stick around because I'm going to cover how to get your self-worth or self-esteem. So moving forward in this video, self-esteem, self-worth, they're the same thing. So whichever word I use, deal with it. I experienced low self-worth most of my life, and it really held me back in many ways, mainly because in personal development a lot you hear about the mirror principle. And so the mirror principle is however you feel internally, that's how your external is going to show up. So if you don't feel good about yourself, your job, your income, your living experiences, all that, it's all gonna kind of reflect how you feel about yourself for the most part. So having low self-esteem or low self-worth can really, really mess with your life. And so I dealt with it most of my life. I just always thought I was always going to have to deal with it because I thought it was something I couldn't control until this book helped me learn a lot. This is the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. Phenomenal book. Some of what I talk about here is from that book. One of the very first things you have to do is look at your life and admit that you're responsible for how you've been feeling about yourself, how you've been thinking, and the results you've created in your life. And this isn't to bring shame on you or anything like that. And I know trauma and circumstances come into play. I'm totally aware that that's a thing that we all have to deal with. I know I've had to deal with mine quite a bit, but I want you to know that one of the first steps to building self-esteem is acknowledging this is where I am. There's no shame or guilt here. It's just where I am. These are the cards I've been dealt. And to move forward, I have to take responsibility, see what I've been doing that hasn't been helping me. So it's just really taking an inventory of your life. Part of that is acknowledging how have I been thinking? How have I been feeling? How have I been acting? Because I can guarantee you, if you have low self-esteem, you've been thinking, feeling, and acting like a person who has low self-esteem and low self-worth. So a part of breaking that cycle is looking at your life, seeing what doesn't work for you anymore, acknowledging the choices and the decisions that either created that or kept that active in your life, and then deciding to choose something different. In personal development and in therapy, we hear about reparenting. And reparenting in a way is looking at a situation and saying, if you didn't want to go to the gym, or if you didn't want to eat healthy and you just want to eat garbage food because you're tired or lazy, you would treat yourself as if you were parenting a child or parenting you. And so you would say, what would I choose if I was being my own parent? And of course, you'd probably make yourself go to the gym if you had at least a slight bit of energy, or you'd make yourself make a good meal for yourself because it would be good for you. And so it's when we begin to make these healthy choices that a high level of self-esteem person would make, we begin to get the feedback. We're now acting like someone who has a high level of self-esteem. We're making the choices that they would make, because we make a new choice about where to live or what type of job to have, or if we're going to let someone verbally abuse us moving forward, or are we going to set a boundary and say, hey, no, this doesn't work for me anymore. If you want to talk to me in the future, you got to talk to me respectfully. I will not allow you to talk to me like this. And what creating that boundary does is you're behaving and acting like someone who respects yourself. You have a high level of self-worth, and then you're teaching the other person, this is how you are to respond to me, and this is how you are to talk to me. And so you're teaching both of you in that moment. I am a person of high self-worth, and I'm to be respected and honored and talked to respectfully. That's when self-worth really takes off and shows up in your life. I had a friend tell me many years ago, he said, love is a verb. And it's so true, because this is what it comes down to. It's not just about like feeling good about yourself. No, it's about acting like someone who loves themselves. Like it's the verb, it's the action of treating myself like I respect myself. And that gives you a high level of self-esteem and self-worth. So literally, it's about loving yourself and treating yourself like you respect yourself, because that is what a person with high level of self-respect would do. And the other piece I want to throw in here that is mandatory if you really want a high level of self-esteem. A person with a high level of self-esteem, they trust their own word. So when they say they're going to do something, they do it. And so you begin to have a new respect for what you say you're going to do. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym tonight, and then you don't, what you're teaching yourself is, I'm full of shit. I don't actually follow through on my word. I don't do what I say I'm going to do. And you don't take yourself seriously. So how should someone else take you seriously if you don't even take yourself seriously? I'm telling you right now, this builds self-esteem like no other. And that is when you say you're going to do something, it doesn't matter how tired you are. It's about following through on what you said you're going to do. And if you're not going to follow through on it, put it in the calendar for sure for the next day or two or whenever, and be in communication with yourself and whoever else is involved that I said I was going to do it now, but I'm restoring integrity. I just want to say I'm going to do it tomorrow by this time, and this is what I'm going to do to make sure it happens. And when you make your word good with yourself and you make choices that a person with a high level of self-worth would choose, you become almost bulletproof in how become almost bulletproof in how you show up, because you take yourself seriously. You have respect for yourself. You have a high level of self-esteem, and other people see how you live and how you show up, and then they respond accordingly. And so not only are you putting it out there, but the environment is feeding it back, because, you know, we teach people how to treat us by showing them how we treat ourselves. And when you treat yourself with respect, other people realize this person is to be respected, and they honor that and they respect that for the most part. You know, sometimes there's assholes, but that happens. And of course, other than that, there's always the fine print that, you know, sometimes some people have to do trauma healing therapy, all that stuff. You know, I had to do my own version of that for sure in therapy. But I just want you to know, you can do all the therapy you want for the rest of your life, but if you don't cover the basics that I just talked about now, and that is, you know, acknowledging where you are, acknowledging how you kept things in play by not making the choices that were the healthiest for you, and then choosing moving forward, how would a person with a high level of self-respect make choices right now? Or if I was reparenting myself right now, what choice would I make myself do right now? And when we follow through on that, and we stick to our word, and we follow through, our self-respect builds, our self-esteem builds, people begin to treat us very differently, and we get to create a whole new experience of how we see ourselves and get to experience our life.